All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you. I'd like to call the Peoria Public Schools Board of Education meeting, May 8th, 2023, to order. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Costick. Mr. Claus.
Here.
Mrs. McConnell. Mr. Murphy.
Here.
Dr. Rankin.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
President Ross. We have 5 present.
Thank you. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Before we move on, I'd like to take a moment for everybody to take a look to my left over here. We have a board from CT Vivian. They did a really great job with all the pictures of the kids and talking about all the things that they focus on there. And then over to my right, we have Glen Oaks board. Lots of pictures up here as well, all about how Glen Oak is family. So if you guys get an opportunity later, check out the pictures that are on display. They did a great job. Moving on to announcements. Mr. Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Vice President Murphy. Teacher Appreciation Week is May 8th through 12th. Teacher Appreciation Week is May 8th through May 12th. We are thankful for every teacher in every classroom at our 27 schools who is working to make a difference, educate our youth, and help shape the future. Second announcement this evening, the Parent University End-of-Year Bash will be held on Thursday, June 1st at the Riverplex Center from 5 to 8 p.m. Come enjoy some educational family fun featuring parent workshops, Zumba classes, a bouncy house, school physicals, community programs, food, and more.
Speech Language Pathologist Appreciation Day. Thursday, May 18th is Speech Language Pathologist Day. Join us in appreciation for our remarkable speech pathologists who teach our students how to communicate. And Kindergarten Roundup. Reminder that kindergartners must have 2 proofs of address, a certified birth certificate, and an up-to-date immunization record and physical to enroll. Immunizations and physicals are due by the start of the 23-24 school year on August 2nd.
Thank you. Ranking.
Summer school. Summer school registration closes on Friday, May 12th. Summer school is a great opportunity for students to learn in small groups with hands-on activities and fun field trips. It is especially beneficial for students who need to get back on track and ready for the next school year. Breakfast, lunch, and transportation are provided. Register for summer school by heading to www.psd150.org/summer. High school graduation. PPS seniors are graduating on May 20th. Peoria High School's graduation begins at 11 a.m., followed by Manual High School at 1 p.m. and Richwoods High School at 3 p.m. The schedule will be strictly enforced, so be on time. And finally, senior last day. Last day of school for PPS seniors is this Friday, May 12th. Congratulations to all of our seniors.
Thank you. I have 2 announcements. 1, School Nurse Appreciation Day is Wednesday, May 10th. Join us in celebrating our remarkable school nurses who care for our students. My second announcement, the WCTC and CAT Signing Day. Don't miss out on the second annual signing day on Wednesday, May 10th at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Woodruff. As a result of successfully finishing their career pathway internships, Woodruff seniors are being offered full-time positions upon graduation, including student signing positions with CAT. The students will be recognized with a small ceremony followed by light refreshments. All right, moving on now to our awards and recognitions for Remarkable Spirit. If we can get, Dr. Gersnich.
Thank you, Vice President Murphy, Dr. Crott, board members. It is with great pleasure tonight that I present the Remarkable Spirit Award to a person almost everyone knows. This person goes above and beyond in her thinking, her actions, and in her heart when it comes to Peoria Public Schools. As the Director of Programming and Community Engagement for the Peoria Public Schools Foundation. Mrs. Trish O'Shaughnessy is a leader in making connections in our community that benefit our school district. For the past 10 years, she has annually organized Horizons guest speakers for hundreds of our middle school students. She is the organizer for the K-5 See It Be It career program, bringing in speakers or setting up tours to help students understand various careers. Some creative ways of doing this has been to use a reverse field trip concept where companies like AMT bring their ambulances to the schools. Mrs. O'Shaughnessy also is a member of our college and career readiness team. She helped define our draft career matrix of activities that we've been implementing this year and collecting good information on. And her contribution to the work has gone beyond that by creating or helping with a huge lift, working with her foundation team to provide 38 live online career speakers to our students each of our school improvement days. That was an impact of over 700 students, we believe, that got to hear from those 38 speakers. She has also helped to develop job shadow opportunities and internship connections. Mrs. O'Shaughnessy, who probably wants to chase me out of here, is a steady force of production for our students and our school district, and I know how much the foundation loves her as well. We are so fortunate her heart beats for our district, and I'm fortunate to call her colleague and friend. Congratulations, Trish. Do you want to say anything?
Oh, wow.
Yes, you do. I know you do.
Always, right? Oh my gosh, I'm just humbled. Thank you. I am caught off guard and just very proud that I get to be a small part of a remarkable team. So thank you very much for this. It's just really thoughtful. Thank you.
Vice President Murphy and Board, Trish, you are amazing. We love you because we know you love the kids and you go above and beyond every day. You have a part-time job with the foundation, but you work 24/7, and we see it every day. So thank you so much, you and Cindy, for all that you're doing through the foundation and our kids. We appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you. Yep. Congratulations also, Trish, for me, working on the board for the foundation. All the hard work that you do means a lot. And you may work part-time, but you're on call doing things all the time. And I don't think everyone quite realizes all the things. I mean, you might have heard some of the names of the programs about what that is. But if you don't know specifically what those programs are, reach out to the foundation and learn more about them. They offer a lot of services I don't think many of our families know about, and know all the work that they do. So congratulations again, Trish. You deserve it. All right, moving on to the student showcase for the mural students, Joseph Ortiza.
Hey, Trish, is he here? Cindy? Cindy? Left. Do you want to present? Well, the reason I'm putting her on the spot is the mural was unveiled at 4:30 today, and it was an amazing event. Those of you who came in on your way out, please take a peek at it. And Cindy Morris is the president of Peoria Public Schools Foundation. And Cindy, you did a nice job today with the teacher and the kids and the principal. I know Peoria High's principal was there. We had two board members there, actually. Vice President Murphy was in attendance, and Mr. Wilson popped by as well. So maybe you can just give a quick recap of what you did today. Thank you.
Is this on? Okay. Well, at first I have to thank you, Dr. Karat. I feel like over the years I come to you often with ideas or thoughts, and you always say yes. So, but 6 years ago we decided to start a mural project where we would bring art to a building or school. So we did that with Sterling School and Sterling students, and then 6 years later now, we partnered with Peoria High School and a wonderful teacher there, Joseph Ortega, with his students at Peoria High. So just beautiful. Come and see it. We're really proud to even grow that more. So it was a great turnout, and the kids really seemed to enjoy it.
You want to show some love to Doug and Eileen?
Oh, yeah. And we also collaborated with Big Picture Peoria, Doug and Eileen Leinig. So we got a donor to donate the paint and kind of get behind the project. So super excited to even continue that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to see if any of the kids are any of the students here that were part of the mural. If you would stand up, if you're here, if any of the students are here, if they've already left, I'm not sure. Okay. Moving on then to the Illinois State Board of Education College Career Pathway Endorsement students for Peoria High School. Thank you.
Good evening again. Thank you again. I'm so happy to have the opportunity to discuss the Illinois State Board of Education's College and Career Pathway Endorsement. This initiative values students achieving their skills to better their career potential and reach career goals. The endorsement will be seen on their high school transcripts. Students earning this endorsement have demonstrated mastery and achievement through activities within a particular career-focused area. Activities included dual credit hours, internship clinical hours, career exploration and development experiences, team-based challenges, and proof of academic readiness for college. 9 students will be receiving the endorsement this year, with 6 receiving distinction as college and career pathway scholars, and that had to do with how high their GPA was. Some of our students are here tonight, so Mr. Spiker and students, will you come and join me at the podium? First, the students that are receiving the endorsement: Javon Cox, Richwoods Culinary Program; Kiesha Gwynn, Peoria High School, Nursing; Alacion Wilson, Peoria High School, Fire Science. And so our scholars tonight, we have some of us with, I'm going to read all 6 names, so you raise your hand when I get your name, okay? Caden Gadina, Peoria High School, Fire Science; Camry Gilbert, Peoria High, Fire Science; Kalia Grant, Peoria High, Nursing; James Johnson, Richwoods Culinary; Jorge Romero, Manual Culinary; and Siasyub Yang from Richwoods Nursing. Students are receiving certificates for their endorsement, and our scholars level are also getting a medal at graduation. I would like to acknowledge April Suter from Perfect and Dr. Oriana Gilson at Woodruff for all their hard work to help the district position us to get these endorsements for students. So, first of all, congratulations. This was a This is a multi-year goal setting that they've done. So it took a while for us to get here. And so would any of you like to talk about your experiences at Woodruff? Don't leave me hanging. I know you're excited. Yeah. What you gained?
My experience at Woodruff, well, what I gained through Woodruff, it helped prepare us for college. So it not only got us college credits, it also prepared us for like what college course and like what college classes would be like, as well as long as like the environment, the small classes, and with just the help being with the teachers, and not only with our teacher, but like our career readiness, Dr. Gilson. She also was played a big part within like our expectations, and she held us real high, and she knew exactly what we can do, and she held us to that. After high school, I will be studying nursing at the University of Kentucky, and not only I don't plan to stop at nursing. I would like to be a general surgeon, but this just got me my first step and got me in the door with like the whole nursing and medical field.
Anything you want about Woodruff, or you also have done a lot of experiences with Skills USA recently?
Yes. With Woodruff, I learned a lot about my career that I want to go into, which is culinary. With that, I also learned, not learned, but I also was able to experience a lot of areas due to the internships they have, as well as the competitions that we participate in at Skills USA and Pro Start, which I participated in. It was overall a great experience, and great memories as well.
Good.
It also gave me certifications that I can use in the future when I become a chef, as well as when I go to college.
Okay, I'd like to thank my Woodruff teachers, Mr. Steinley and Mr. Macklin. They really helped me prepare for the future. And they got me a job on a fire station. So yeah, I'm doing an internship there. And I'd like to thank my career coaches, Ms. Walsh and Ms. Chapman. They really helped me a lot too. And Ms. Gilson.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Are any of the family members here of the students that came up and spoke? If you'd go ahead and stand up, let's give a round of applause for them as well. Thank you. Moving on to the chess tournament, Emily Dawson.
Good evening. It's nice to see you again. Here for a different reason under a different title. I'm Emily Dawson. I happen to be a special ed teacher at Mark Bills. I am also the secretary of the Greater Peoria Chess Foundation, a treasurer of the Illinois Chess Association, and I guess I have a new passion for chess since I started working in Peoria Public Schools. I just want to go over a few statistics about how our season went. We've started more than just the PFT District 150 Chess Championship. We're starting chess a lot earlier in the school year. This year and last year, it starts with the Greater Peoria Chess Camp, which is the Midwest Chess Camp. That is the first weekend in August every year. Most of our meets are now October through February. It makes for a very long season because it's essentially the school year. We've hosted 17 local tournaments last year. The full schedule, if anybody wants to know or is interested next year, it is peoriachess.com. We had 12 different Peoria Public Schools represented through the different tournaments this year, not just the ones that were hosted in Peoria Public Schools, but over the whole season. And that was up from 8, I believe, that we had last year. So we're getting a lot more students in Peoria Public Schools involved. Another big benefit that Greater Peoria Chess Foundation does and gives to Peoria Public Schools is that we provide free U.S. chess memberships to any of the students who come and play in any of the tournaments. So that's about a $20 value that we give any of the students because we don't want money or anything like that to stand in their way of participation. This year we held 4 tournaments in Peoria Public Schools with 287 participants within the district. The first one was the Liberty Fall Classic, and next year it is moving to Franklin. We had a chat with the various coaches and principals, and one of the barriers for some of our students is the transportation on a Saturday to get to the different tournaments. So we thought, why not just move the tournaments around the city and get it closer to the students? So that one will be, it's already scheduled for November 18th, 2023. The Mark Bills Winter Classic, just because that one's mine, I like to keep it. It's staying February 3rd of 2024. And then we haven't decided if we're going to do the PFT Fall Chess Kickoff. It got a little busy and hectic within October because we'll be hosting some state and national tournaments this year. So it might be that that falls to the wayside because there's some bigger ones coming. And then at the very end of the season, it is the PFT District 150 Chess Championship. That was in May when I first started helping out, and we've slowly moved it back to match the IESA season. So next year it will be at Lincoln to move it around the city again too, and it'll be February 17th of 2024. This year, we were super excited that 2 schools joined IESA and took teams to state. So I would like to introduce Principal Marlin and Martin. She's going to introduce the Reservoir Gifted Academy team. Their sixth grade team placed 12th out of 48 teams. Seventh grade placed 23 out of 47 teams. Eighth grade placed 11th place in the state out of 50 teams. And then they were the PFT District 150 Chess Championship as an overall team.
Thank you, thank you. All right, as I call your name, come on up. Thank you for allowing us to present our students here. I'll wait till I'm done with this. Okay, we have Bryce Ham, Henry Bartman, Noah Heinz, Exo Mumbungo, Owen Nelson, Eli Diaz, Nikki Saraf, Vincent Wetzel, Keaton Harden, Evan Lawrence, Amr Aleder, Carson Dare, Jake Owen, Ben Owen, Ahmad Mayfield Ranking, Yash Matal, Mitchell Wenger, and Jerron Alexander Jenkins. I think we have a few of those here.
You guys want to pop your around your principal? We'll do a short picture. I'm looking at this one. Thank you, boys. Mitchell and Yash are actually, they play almost every tournament, and I bet you he played all 17 of them. You did. Yeah. His mom agrees. They played all 17. So we just included a picture of each one of their students at the state tournament. It was an exciting day down at the Peoria Civic Center where we have about 1,000 boards set up. The Greater Peoria Chess Foundation shows up Thursday nights, and we set every single one of those. It was a fun time, let me tell you. Then I would like to introduce the other team in Peoria Public Schools that joined IESA and competed in the finals, and that is Mark Bills. The sixth graders, who there were 5 of, placed 25th in the state out of the 50, so we broke the top half. And 7th grade was 46th with only 1 student, and 8th grade was 48th with only 1 student. So the fact that we were still on there and a little bit above all the entries with only 1 student playing in that team was pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
So in our team is Ellen Forknell. Thanks. Sure. I was like enthusiastic, I'm sorry. Sam Iyer. Ethan Best. Sean Shorty. Eric Antoline. Eli Powell. And Roman Thomas. Did I get it right today? I get it wrong like every other hour. So we're just excited to continue helping in promoting chess within Peoria Public Schools, and we would just like to continue making more excitement, getting more kids involved, and seeing what else that we can do to help. We did take a few more pictures on a few other slides of each one of the tournaments. There's the Peoria Public Schools kickoff, the Liberty Leadership, the Winter Classic, and the PFT District 150 Chess Championship, which we do have extra t-shirts if anybody's interested. I can get those brought down for you. The T-shirts and that tournament and all of the trophies, we gave away 96 trophies during that tournament. We had a sponsorship from PFT, District 150, as well as a parent from Reservoir and a Caterpillar match that ended up being able to provide all the students with the T-shirts. So that was pretty exciting that we were able to do that. So I promise I might be back another month. We had quite a few kids from 3 of our schools place this weekend at state or at sectionals, so we're going to state and track. Yeah, and Reservoir.
And I'm just going to jump in here. Again, I'm Susan Martin. I'm the principal at Reservoir Gifted, and we participated in the Scholastic Bowl. We were one of the few teams jumping back into that this year. I know Reservoir has not done it for many, many years. So we did win our regional and sectional and went to state last Friday. Our students didn't fare quite as well as they wanted to, but we did earn 7th place in the state of Illinois, so I think that's pretty good for our first year back into Scholastic Bowl. So I'm really proud of the students that competed. We do have a JV and a varsity team. The state tournament's only for varsity. So it's pretty impressive. It's amazing to go to those matches and watch the students. The questions that they can answer are just beyond. So congratulations to my students, and it's just a great opportunity for us to be able to participate. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin, and congratulations. I would like to attend one of those state competitions just to learn and observe. And Ms. Dawson, you're very inspirational, and you've taken this to the next level. Thank you. Let's continue to grow it. Anything we can do to assist and not get in the way. It's pretty impressive what you've done. I attended a couple just to sort of give you a hug and say thank you. So thank you very, very much. And awesome. And I saw Dr. Rankin was there, and I saw Mr. Wilson, Mr. Murphy. I'm not sure if, but I ran into.
The press even came and covered our last tournament, so that was exciting too. To get the kids positive.
Yeah. Just, yeah, great opportunities for the kids, and the interest is there, obviously, and you're only going to grow it. So thank you so much. It's amazing.
Yeah, Mrs. Dawson, I tell you all the time how awesome you are and how awesome you've put together this chest inside of our district. I would love to see chests inside of all of our schools. That's something that I am working towards now. Even if I have to go out there and teach some classes myself, I will.
I picked up 2 teams.
You did?
I was Liberty and Markville this year.
Well, hold me for 2. And we'll talk. Thank you for your hard work on it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if there's any schools that end up, or if you, we do offer the free boards
Yes.
and pieces to any of the students who need them for home, or we offer them to the schools or the clubs on top of anything else that we can possibly do. So I'll hold you to that.
Yeah. It's National Teacher Appreciation Week, so we appreciate you and all the teachers. Yeah, thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thank you. All right, moving on to district presentations, the 2022-2023 budget amendment. Mr. Willis.
Good afternoon or evening. Michelle, if you could just flip through. Here we have a description of the budget team, me, Carla, and our chief accountant, who's been with us about a year now. And if we move to the next page, we typically do a budget amendment true up this time of year. We'll make a presentation brief tonight. We'll display the entire budget document at the receptionist desk and post it online. Also this week, that will satisfy the 30-day period that we have to have that available to the public. We, on June 12th, will ask for a budget hearing, then follow that with a request for the board to adopt the budget. And in terms of figures, the total revenue that you see in the budget amendment is $355.6 million. Total expenditures that you see in the recommended amended budget is $357.8 million. If we flip to the next page, basically in terms of adjustments, there were a couple of key things that drove the revision. Number one, the audit was completed, and so the starting numbers for the fiscal year July 1, 2022, we had available to us when we adopted the budget in September. We did not have those actual results for the starting point for the fiscal year, so we baked that in. We had a number of federal and state grant changes, which are typical throughout the year. When we adopt a budget presented in August, adopted in September, a lot of grant information is not available at that point, but becomes available after, so that's baked in. And then property values, official notice of what those values are for this year, tax rate, those kinds of things. That information comes in April, so we have that now available to us that we've baked into the revenue and expenditure estimates as well. And then just a small recap on our total long-term debt, which sits at $139.5 million. About this time last year, it was close to $155 million. And if we keep going on the operating side, basically we're going to be at about break even. If you go over to the far right, the last third number up, 661,000. Basically, we're bringing in about 600,000 over what we're estimating in terms of our operating budget. Some adjustments throughout the categories, but the bottom line is it's about break even. If you look at the other portion of our budget, which is the next page, and it's those kinds of things that are more one-time capital projects, our debt payments, life safety, tort, those kinds of things. In that particular piece of our budget, we're spending about $2 million more than we're bringing in, but those monies are in our balances, and it's really just a planned drawdown of balances. Overall, you can see that $355 million that we anticipate coming in, that $357.8 million that we anticipate spending, with balances all across all our funds landing at about $108 million. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And then this gives you a recap just in terms of our operating fund on our revenue, how everything kind of pie charts out, and you can see evidence-based funding and property taxes are significant sources. And then if you flip to the next one, our expenses, and you can see that salaries and benefits are a major category in that operating budget summary. If you go to the last page, basically June 12th is when we'll have our next conversation. We'll have a public hearing, request board approval, and as I mentioned before, we'll have a copy of the budget document available on the website and at the receptionist desk up front. So that's a quick drive-through. I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Thank you, Mr. Willis. Moving on to the Woodruff Alumni Association update from Ike Mawson. Okay. I don't think we have anybody here. Okay. We will move on to the Peoria Public Schools Foundation update from Trish O'Shaughnessy.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys giving us well, first of all, thank you again. I'm just overwhelmed, right? Overwhelmed. But we do appreciate you giving us an opportunity to share kind of at the end of the year some things that the foundation has been able to do this year. I'm just going to focus on a few, but obviously if you have any questions about any foundation programmings or work, please feel free to reach out to me or to Cindy or Cindy's team, and we're happy to get that for you. But I particularly wanted to highlight tonight a couple of places that we've saw tremendous growth and reinvigoration during this school year. One, we were thrilled to be able to reinvigorate our Adopt a School program. Janet Ham, who is our Adopt a School coordinator, was not able to be here tonight due to a family thing that came up. But I just wanted to share with you some of the great work that Janet's been able to do. The Adopt a School program has been in existence with the foundation for quite a while, but with COVID, some of the pivots that we had to make were to bring some things in-house to make sure that we could sustain food supports, which the Adopt a School program oversees, that we could sustain some additional volunteer supports, which were obviously virtual or moved into some other realms. We knew that this year would be the ideal time to try to reinvigorate that program and reconnect with our community partners. And we are so thrilled that that has really been able to happen. Looking at the Adopt a School program, we have been able to take our little free pantries, which are at the majority of our schools, from a model where we were writing grants and doing direct distribution of food out of our budgeting or out of grant budgeting specific to the pantries with a lot of community supports, but a lot of it was coming out of those budgetary dollars. With the re-engagement of community partners, we were able to pivot back to more of the traditional model of the little free pantries. So all of our pantries have been again re-engaged with either the incoming partners who are new to the specific pantry, or with a re-engagement of partners that had already been established. Some of the models look slightly different. We have a really great network with Hy-Vee to distribute food, so we do have some community partners who, instead of doing a direct supplying themselves or their organization to the pantries, are instead providing restricted funding for that school's little free pantry, and then we're still able to utilize our delivery system that we had set up through Hy-Vee. Their sous chef as well has become a community partner with the True Win Pantry, and they are actually stocking items on their shelves for the community to purchase and directly for the True Win Pantry. So we've had a lot of re-engagement. A lot of partners have taken on the pantries. We're really thrilled with how that's moving. And being able to provide that supplemental source of food supports for our families out in the community. That's been excellent. In addition, in that same vein, we've been able to re-engage or expand our snack pack program. So that's a program where children will take home supplemental meals in their backpacks on Friday. Glen Oak Church has done a huge lift on that and is still doing quite a few. They've also engaged a lot of new community partners to help get them up to speed. So we have a lot of additional snack packs being created, more students being able to take those home, and a larger percentage of schools that are being impacted by the snack pack program. We only see that growing and are really thrilled that that's a piece that after COVID has been able to become an important part of our programming again. In that same vein, Janet has been able to create some new avenues of adoption for community partners. We're working very diligently with a lot of the schools on creating community gardens or school gardens. Janet is working to create a community shareholder district-wide coordination so that we aren't duplicating efforts. A lot of the same organizations were being asked for supports. So under the Adopt a School program, Janet's able to kind of coordinate some of those gardens. I visited one today at Charter Oak. And it was a garden that had kind of gone defunct. It is getting put back together. But that's happening in various capacities across the district. So we're really thrilled that that is a new place for community partners to be able to engage with our schools and bring their passion and resources to work with the children. In the same vein, as exciting as Adopt a School is and has been, we've really been able to see a reinvigoration of our career readiness programming this year, kind of getting it all back to full force. Of course, we have our traditional Horizons program. For those who don't know, it is a middle school career and college readiness program for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We call them clubs, so the kids are all jazzed to go to the club. They meet during lunch. We've had a staff of predominantly Bradley students who are education majors working with our children once a week. We've brought in hundreds of career speakers. Jaleisha Allen, who works with our team, has kind of spearheaded the gathering of speakers. We invite all of you to come in next year and speak with our students. We'd love to get you on the calendar. Those are in-person opportunities for career speakers to come in. We take those kids on field trips. Last week, we just took 800 kids ice skating at the Owens Center over the week. So a huge shout out to the Peoria Park District for partnering with us for that. But we've also gone to Caterpillar Tech Center and the Caterpillar Visitor Center and some other field trips across Peoria. But that program, it's only as strong as the speakers that we can bring in. And we're very grateful also to align the work that we do beyond speakers with the additional work that the district does in career readiness so that there's some synergy between that club and work that the kids are getting in the classroom. We have our See It, Be It program, which are actually next week for second semester. So See It, Be It is for our smaller, younger learners. It's kindergarten through 5th grade at this point. We did have reverse field trips happening this week, so the Peoria Police Department partnered with us to come into all 1st grade classrooms in the district this week. We're really excited about that. Next week, we'll have virtual opportunities, and we did as well 1st semester, where our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students will have a virtual career speaker on MS Teams, but it will be live based on a predetermined career cluster that was done in some preliminary work by the teachers. So we're thrilled to have those speakers come in and present and talk to the kids about their careers. And that opened up an opportunity because of those virtual speakers to work with Dr. Gerstenich with our SIP Day career speakers as well. I love in-person career speakers. But there's something about the virtual that we can do that we weren't able to do in person. For example, we had a Peoria Public School graduate who works for the State Department in Malaysia speak last week with the SIP Day career speakers. So she was able to come in from Malaysia and talk to the children about growing up at Glen Oak, going to Peoria High, and then now works for the State Department. And so it was really cute because when she mentioned she went to Glen Oak, all the little Glen Oak kids on the call started cheering. And so there is something about that virtual piece that I think we learned through COVID can open up a world for our students, coupled with the in-person career speakers that we still like to bring into the classroom. Of course, the foundation does a lot more beyond career speakers and Adopt a School by providing basic needs supports. Cindy does quite a lot to make sure that we have resources available for our families in need. We also, of course, just gave out our scholarships, and we'll be looking forward to our classroom grants in the fall. But we're thrilled to be able to do this work with the district and continue to expand and grow as we move forward to next school year. I offer any questions you guys have. I'm happy to answer.
Any questions from the board? I think none. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for giving us this opportunity to update. Please reach out if you ever think of any questions, and I mean it sincerely. We would love everybody to come and be a career speaker with our kids. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Trish. Okay, moving on, we're going to do presentation by audience. Just as a reminder, an individual may address the board at this time for no more than 5 minutes with further time allotted as appropriate at the discretion of the chair and with the concurrence of the majority of the board. Total time on any one subject shall not exceed 20 minutes only at the discretion of, or shall only exceed 20 minutes by the discretion of the chair and with the concurrence of the majority of the board. Each speaker will fill out a request to speak to the Board of Education card and present it to the board secretary before the meeting begins. That said, we will go ahead and begin with our first speaker. Our first speaker will be Nicolina Akinlua.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Today I will be touching on IXL. So as Mike introduced me, my name is Nicolina and I am a Keller parent. I'm here to talk about IXL not getting approved at the elementary level. The parents of Keller trust our teachers, and our teachers have voiced their desire to have a program that not only meets our students' needs, but also best aligns with the standards. It would be great if the topic of IXL could be discussed with each and every individual school team in order to assess their needs. It's important to recognize that each school has different needs, and all needs are just as unique and urgent. They can't all be met with the same platform. I encourage you guys to reach out to each and every school and see what the teachers need in order to support their students in the best possible way they can. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Up next, Mary Beth Cunningham.
I'm Mary Beth Cunningham, and it's your worst nightmare. I brought notes today. I'm actually here. The IXL thing was actually on my list, so I'm just going to lend my support to that. It's not just the IXL issue, that was talked about last year, but just to kind of, reemphasize that each culture at each school, each need at each school is vastly different. Some are more alike than others, and what may work at one school is not going to help at another. And so, as I always do, I'm going to urge you to please make sure that your teacher teams are leading the show with our kids' curricula. So, also on a positive note, I wanted to talk about chess. One of my children is painfully shy, and he's coming out of his shell, and literally at 10 o'clock p.m. signed up, to our surprise, to do the PFT chess tournament. He was welcomed with open arms, not just by our Reservoir team, but also just the chess community as a whole. Emily was so excited to welcome him. If you've met my son, I know you've met my son, a couple of you guys have. He does not show his excitement the way that all the rest of us might, or many of the rest of us might, but he said he wants to do that tournament every single day. So kudos to everybody who did that. And Mr. Wilson, if you offer to do two teams, Emily is going to hold you to that. So Godspeed. The arts at the courthouse. I'm so glad that our district is continuing to do this. It was something that was some of my favorite memories, going to Roosevelt, now Annie Jo Gordon, all the way through Richwoods. And the arts at every school is extremely important, and I will always be a voice to keep arts equally at every single school, but that is not today. Not today, that's not the issue that I'm bringing today. So thank you for all of those things. It is Food Allergy Awareness Month, and I know that we are bringing in potentially a new vendor for our food. My children and my husband are affected by food allergies, anaphylactic food allergies, and I wasn't able to be here last meeting, so I emailed Dr. Ranking to be like, hey, just remember I've got my two very anaphylactic children to think about, and I'm not the only one. So putting it out there, I wasn't as impressed as I would like to be with, but they were put on the spot, so I want to give an opportunity for that. But with the new vendor to actually answer the question about the top 9 allergens and being able to accommodate a Title I district that has a lot of our children only eating the meals at school. So I know the taste is important, but being able to have a safe meal that isn't going to literally kill a child is a big deal. I love the health options. It looks like a cool vendor, but our last vendor worked hand in hand with me, the squeaky wheel, which I'm sure was annoying to them, but they worked hand in hand to really alleviate some of the issues that were brought to the table this year with some of the food allergy legislation. So I would like to see the same commitment if we are going to sign with any contractor, that it's not just going to be nuts, and my kids are also allergic to peanuts and tree nuts, but the top 9, and also what is their commitment to offering reasonable replacements. 25% of students have their first ever reaction, unknown allergies at school. And they are food allergies typically. So we have to be very mindful that this is big. 1 in 13 students is 2 kids in my daughter's 26th child second grade classroom, and one of her friends just went through anaphylaxis for the first time this year. And it is important to make sure that each vendor has clear labeling for many reasons, but also when you have your first reaction, it is, trust me, the most excruciating thing to go through and try to call every single vendor, every single company that the vendor uses to say, it says natural flavors. What does that mean? And they won't tell you because of proprietary information. So we need that commitment to not just keep our currently known anaphylactic kids safe at school. I'm not asking for anything to be free of allergens. I just want to know what's in it. But we also need it for when, because 1 in 4 allergies occur at school for the first time, when someone is trying to get diagnosed with the proper allergy so they can avoid and have the proper treatment. And as an allergy mom, it's hard to send, especially like the earlier ages, it's hard to send your kids to school. It really is. It's painful. It's terrifying, and Dr. Krott's gotten crying phone calls from me about my child's health or my children's health, mostly Molly. But I'm not the only one, and my kids have the privilege to bring their lunch to school, and some kids don't, so we need to think.
Thank you. Up next, we have Lori Dixon.
Hi, I'm Lori Dixon, and thank you for the opportunity to address you. I am not prepared. Unfortunately, I was made aware of the situation that brings me here Friday evening. I have a grandchild that is a student at one of the Peoria public schools, and my grandchild was made aware of a situation of a threat, and my grandchild took that threat information to the principal, and I am wondering if there's a protocol for students with that happening, and if there's follow-up, if there's investigations. I do know that my grandchild stated they're afraid in class when the other student is present.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Nick Yates.
Hey there, my name is Nick Yates. I'm a parent of a student at Keller Elementary. We're here to express our deep concern and disappointment about a recent safety incident that took place at Keller Elementary. On April 27th, Keller students came home from school frightened, distraught, and some not wanting to return to school the following day. In speaking to our children, parents learned that this was the result of a student bringing a weapon to school with the intent to harm another student. Having no formal communication from the school, parents began to try and piece together the facts of the incident amongst themselves. From what we have gathered, the situation was handled appropriately in a safe and timely manner. It's important for everyone to understand that we actually appreciate how it was handled safely in a timely manner, but we would like to have it heard from the school. We'd like to have heard that from the school in a formal communication instead of from other parents. We find it unacceptable that we were not informed about this incident in a timely manner, especially given that during the COVID pandemic, we were immediately notified if our child was in contact with a positive case. Notification would allow parents to prepare to help their kids process their emotions surrounding the event. There have been similar incidents recently at Dunlap, Rolling Acres, and Pleasant Valley, all of which were communicated to the parents via email. Instead, communications from the school in response to parental concerns have been dismissive, referring to the weapon as an inappropriate object, which does not accurately convey the cause for the concern. According to the District 150 Student Parent Handbook, a knife is considered a weapon. It is clear that a weapon was brought to school with the intent to harm another child. Lack of communication regarding incidents of targeted violence leads to chaos and confusion. Targeted violence involves planned violence that is focused on a specific person or persons. Attacks can be physiological or emotional, physical or both, and can result in physical injury as well as psychological emotional trauma. FERPA allows the reporting of information related to the possession of drugs or weapons by students on school grounds voluntarily or at the request of outside agencies. We acknowledge that confidentiality rules may apply, and we do not require detailed information about the incident. However, we do believe that the school should have sent a basic message to the parents stating that there was a safety incident and that all the students were okay. As well as the honesty about the weapon making into our school versus what the story by the district was shared about the weapon being confiscated as soon as the student got off the bus. This would have provided us with some reassurance and allowed us to talk to our children if they had any questions or concerns. We've reviewed the Keller and District 150 Student Parent Handbook, but could not find any procedures notifying parents of incidents like the one that took place on April 27th. In today's world, we feel it is essential to have transparent communication between the school and the parents. Considering that our children spend most of their waking day at school, we can look at this as a co-parenting between the schools and the family. In a healthy co-parenting, the parties put the children as the priority. Transparency and communication are key to this successful collaboration. We believe that parents have the right to know what is happening at their school with their children. We recognize that all parents are different, which is why transparency and communication are key. The district's job is to send the information to the parents, and it is up to each and every parent to know how to proceed, whether they disregard the notification or have a conversation with their children. At least they were given a choice. We're calling for action in regards to honesty, transparency, and communication. We would like for the district communications team to coordinate a collaborative group of parents, teachers, administrators, and other relevant stakeholders to meet and work together on the development of a policy for communication before the start of the 23-24 school year. This group can consider what situations warrant communication, how that should be communicated, and within what time frame following the incident. By setting a standard of cooperative behavior among the entire school population, school policies can strengthen community values, build esteem among students, prevent violence, and reduce the level of trauma if violence occurs. Last thing I want to request from the board is for clarity on communications with the district and the board members. I know we had dozens of concerned parents reach out to the board, request their presence in meetings, and a response to the questions we have asked today. But with the exception of Mr. Wilson, we've received no response from the BOE. When situations like this arise, we need to know who will handle our concerns. Please create and communicate a contact chain of command that will be responsible for responding to our concerns. Thank you very much.
Okay, our next speaker, Whitney Creeth.
Hello, my name is Whitney Kreth. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you today. I'm in a unique position in regard to the incident that was mentioned earlier, in that my children were on that bus. However, I am also a bus driver. I heard about the incident from a coworker. I also happen to have today been on a bus and had 5 students removed from my bus for another incident of students threatening harm with a similar piece of equipment, weapon, and they are not allowed to ride for the rest of the school year. This is concerning to me. I would love to see, my children had to do a lot of counseling and doctor's appointments this year, so they had some significant attendance issues. I would love to see as many communications about safety and what is or is not allowed at school as I did about my children, whether they were in attendance or not. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Our next speaker is Roshi Connor.
Hi, my name is Roshi Connor, and I'm a parent in District 3 of 2 students at Keller Primary. You've heard our concerns regarding the lack of transparency and communication regarding the incident on April 27th. I'd like to note that I heard about the incident firsthand from my children that same day before I even left the cafeteria after picking them up from school. And that evening, I emailed the school board. I only heard back from one member. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for your response. And he's not even a District 3 elected member. But this incident also brought up another gap that us as parents wanted to bring to you. At the end of the day, it is important to remember that the student at the center of the incident was also a victim of bullying. This is something that has been around for ages and extends from across the district in elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. The CDC has stated different types of violence are connected and often share root causes. Bullying is linked to other forms of violence through shared risk and protective factors. Addressing and preventing one form of violence may have an impact on preventing other forms of violence, which is why it makes sense for you as the board to consider bullying prevention tools to be implemented into our school. And I'm not just talking about policies in the handbook. I'm talking about actual prevention tools in our schools. And this will hopefully help to decrease instances of violence and to protect the overall well-being of all students and staff members. Our call to action for the board is to join collaboratively with the schools, the staff, and the parents, and include concerns of the students themselves to create a curriculum for bully prevention and empathy training. We, as the parents, want to be involved in these conversations. I did a simple Google search and I came across stopbullying.gov, which I hope everybody takes a chance to look at. They provide a lot of great resources and information on what can be done for bullying prevention, as well as evidence-based programs and curriculum. Some activities that were highlighted for bullying prevention that our schools, our teachers, our parents, our staff can do right now include internet or library research, such as looking up types of bullying, how to prevent it, and how kids should respond, presentations, such as a speech or role play on stopping bullying, discussions about topics like reporting bullying and when to do so, creative writing, such as a poem speaking out against bullying, or a story or skit teaching bystanders how to help, artistic work, such as a collage about respect or the effects of bullying, classroom meetings to talk about peer relations. I encourage you all to take a chance to look at stopbullying.gov. It's a really great resource for this sort of thing. And it is true that it takes a village to raise a child. We all know that. And that village includes all of us, each and every one of us, parents, staff, board members, all of us in the community, to help teach them kindness, empathy, acceptance, and understanding. Unfortunately, we saw during this instance that a student did not feel that they had any other options and no one safe to speak with about what was happening to them. So that brings us to our next concern about the April 27th incident, which is mental health. Thank you for letting me speak.
And our last speaker this evening is Emily Oliver.
Hi, good evening. My name is Emily Oliver, and I am also a Keller parent. Like all of you and so many parents in District 150, I believe that schools should not only be a physically safe space, but also a psychologically safe space for our kids. As parents, we did want to send a thank you to Officer Boone, who handled this situation excellently, who answered our calls, who responded to us, but who was limited in his communication with us. When students face emotionally overwhelming situations such as bullying, when they have to seek advice and input from peers rather than safe adults in their schools, when they become so desperate that violence seems like the only answer, it becomes clear our schools are not yet the warm, safe environments that students need to find support and that I know all of us want. Unfortunately, due to our limited resources, we understand it's going to be challenging to provide additional responsibilities to teachers to address student mental health issues. Instead, I would suggest that the district create significantly more awareness around mental health through social emotional learning, SEL programs, district-wide. While it may be difficult to find full-time counselors and social workers in school, mental health advocates across the district could provide universal trauma screening, teach an SEL curriculum, educate and equip all school staff on how to handle mental health concerns. We can all provide mental health support for both students and teachers so that teachers also have access to resources that they need to develop strong skills in social emotional health. I urge the district form a work group that partners with parents, with teachers, with community stakeholders, as well as yourselves, the board and administrators. All of our voices are needed to collaborate together to create and implement effective SEL programs in our district. By doing that, this work group is going to be able to provide transparency and clarity on what is currently being taught, and it gives everyone a voice that is needed in this discussion, which is so important, on how to best deliver SEL content to students on a routine basis. I also urge the district create space for an SEL education to be a protected part of the educational time. Just as we do with physical education, we provide staff and we provide class time for PE to promote physical health. SEL curriculum should have the same priority. Our students need a chance to develop knowledge around emotions, self-regulation, empathy, and how to get support when they need it. These are foundational skills that are going to be crucial for them to be successful in both life and in their studies. When we are addressing these mental health concerns, we are going to be able to work together to create environments where students feel heard and they feel believed when they share the difficulties with the adults in their lives. We're going to be able to empower teachers as they seek to build the relationships with their students, mentor them, and be a safe adult in their schools. By openly discussing and teaching mental health and social emotional learning, you will reduce the stigma of mental health while also increasing access to mental health resources. Because students that have a strong safety net and are supported mentally and emotionally in school learn better. We have an opportunity here as adults to know better, learn better, and do better ourselves for our kids. Let's partner together and work to create the safe environment we all desire schools to be, to see our kids grow and succeed holistically. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you to all of our speakers this evening. At this time, we will do a response to audience presentation.
Thank you, Vice President Murphy. As usual, I'll start off by saying thanking our parents for coming out and sharing their thoughts with us. And with that said, I have to say, Keller you have an amazing school. Keller is, and I took some notes, Keller is as perfect of a school as you're going to find in the United States. And so we need to be proud of the kids, the staff, the families, and all of the accomplishments that's ongoing at Keller. Number one, the situation that happened Friday was handled, as you've mentioned, very, very swiftly. And Director Boone is our safety director for PPS. He was basically the individual that was identified to respond with any questions. I got emails regarding why we were not notified, and we basically shared why. And I gave you some of the questions that we usually ask ourselves in situation like that. Like when assessing a situation, our safety team, we use 3 guiding situations. So specifically with the situation that occurred on the bus at 8:17 or somewhere around there, is the threat imminent? The threat was not imminent. Can the threat spread? Is the threat contained? And the threat was, bless you, is the threat contained? So those are some of the questions that guided whether or not families were communicated with. Someone mentioned counselors, and I spoke with the principal. And she said, we have an SEL counselor at the school. If there were any questions, she meets with 4th graders. Kids weren't talking about it to the counselor. That's what I was told. And the counselor was available for them and meets with them regularly. So That's a resource that the district added a couple of years ago. The bullying never came up. This is the first we're hearing of the bullying, and so we do want to hear about bullying because there's a special step we have to take. There's a specific form that needs to be filled out, and the government actually tracked the bullying information, so we take those very, very seriously. So if there are any bullying situations, please notify the principal and or any one of us, and we will provide guidance in terms of what to do as far as that's concerned. Because again, there's a specific form and it's investigated, and then we go from there. Ms. Oliver, Emily Oliver, you're right on it in terms of creating more awareness. And when we started, I think, 2018, we opened up the Office of SEL, the Wraparound Center, and a strategic plan. Actually, Pillar 2 talks about embedding social emotional learning in teaching and learning. And we're continuing to improve in that area. Everything you said, I agreed with you in terms of teaching the emotions, and we follow CASTLE. Dr. Bond actually is working collaboratively. We're collaborating with PFT, our union, and we have, for the upcoming year, and they're planning right now, we have an SEL committee, and there are parents on there, there are students on there. There are 10 subcategories. There's like student voice. There are like 2 categories for parents. So we'll take a look and see if Kelly's represented on that. We would love to get you guys, some of you on that as well. And Dr. Bond, I know, is doing an amazing job. And there are teachers on there as well. There were 37 individuals on that committee, which started. Is Dr. Bond here? Doc, when did we start that? And what's the purpose of that committee? Thank you, Doc. And also to ensure that every classroom, like Emily said, some classes are doing it, some classes it needs to be improved upon. So every classroom, there's a curriculum, it's being taught intentionally. So I'm really excited. So we've actually opened up that invitation to get all of the various stakeholders to be part of it, to really build it and then implement it. Because, we see what's happening out in the world, and it's scary. And so we understand you're nervous, but you have to be proud of this group of leaders in PPS. We know what we're doing. We know the work. We're on it. Trust me, we're working 24/7. There's serious threats. Our SROs, we have 28 of them, 27. They're literally going into homes, searching homes, searching bedrooms. We are on this thing 24/7. So, the important thing was, and those of you who emailed me, we sort of shared some things with you. So it was contained. We had control over it, and we felt really good about it. And just had, we had the plan of action to move on. So there's some confidentiality things as well that we can't really say. Some people want to know what happened to this and what's going to da-da-da. And I think you mentioned, the first speaker mentioned, the confidentiality piece. So, thanks for coming out. We're improving again in that area in terms of social, emotional, and helping our kids, helping our families. And I feel good about the upcoming plan, especially with that committee. So again, if any one of you are interested, just send an email to me as well, and we'll get you on that. But that's.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to kind of commend the Keller staff for coming and speaking about the incident today or tonight, this evening. I think it really takes a lot to get up there and voice those concerns. I think it's a little easier because we're talking about our students, our children. But one thing I seen tonight was solutions. So you didn't just get up to the podium and talk about the situation. You actually brought ideas that can make this district better so that it won't happen again in the future. So for that, I appreciate that. I am on the policy committee along with Paris McConnell, board member Paris McConnell. So I do want to explore policy as far as communication to our parents is concerned. I believe you had mentioned that. So I'll be in touch. I got to get with Paris, but I will be in touch so we can see how that looks like. So, yep. Yep.
Then board member, Vice President Murphy, Nicolene and Mary Beth mentioned IXL. If you guys wait for the superintendent update, Amanda and I are going to talk about the online programs. We would love for you to, individuals were surveyed. If you can stay, I know sometimes you can't, but that would give you some sort of background and insight into next steps and recommendations. So thank you both for bringing that up as well.
Vice President Murphy, may I share
Yes,
something?
go ahead.
This is Paris McConnell, and we are very sensitive to what happened at Keller, and I encourage every parent and staff, if you will, send us your solutions. We believe this is a team effort, and we need to know what is happening in the buildings, and we want to support, and we want you to help us draft best practices so that we can grow. So, and I want to personally thank you for your time and your emails, and I want to encourage you to just stay in touch with us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on now to approval of minutes. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, or can I get a motion?
So move.
For the approval. Oh, number 10. Right.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Mr. Kloss.
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Aye.
Dr. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
We have 5 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to information items. Number 1, superintendent update.
Thank you so much, Vice President Murphy. Just quickly again, I mentioned it, it's National Teacher Appreciation Week, and I know a lot of you are recognizing teachers in a variety of ways, even if it's just a quick email or note. Thank you for doing that. The board and superintendent will send cheese and sausage and crackers to their buildings, either 1 or 2. So at this point, I've asked Ms. Brown if you can make your way to the podium, that'd be great. I've asked Amanda Brown, she's a member of the curriculum team, to provide an update on the online supports, the online programs. That's on the agenda for tonight. We continue to review and analyze these resources based on usage and student growth. So there are 9 online resources for math and reading that is showing growth, and again, have good usage. And again, the important thing is this is part of our strategic plan, and specifically around these supports offer the differentiation. That is a big part of our strategic plan. So, Ms. Brown, you've done some work with teachers, and let's share with the board what you were able to find out. Thank you.
Thank you. So we know there's a lot of action items for those programs tonight, and we wanted to give an update on the progress of those as we've used them this past year. The why behind why we use online programs. So as Dr. Crott already shared, it's part of our strategic plan for a reimagined education, and it really speaks to the piece of equity for all students. Specifically with the strategic plan, the two pieces that it really aligns with are the personal learning plans and the differentiation piece as well. So online programs allow us to provide both of those for all of our students. Here you see an overview of the current programs that are being used in our schools this past school year, and then what we are looking to shift to in some areas for the next 2 school years coming up. When we started with this process, we wanted to start by asking the teachers who are using the programs to give us some feedback on that. And so we asked teachers to rate each program that they used on a scale of effectiveness from 1 to 5. So this is teacher perception. All K-8 students who used this program were given the opportunity. 150 of them responded. So you can see on the chart, the light gray is the responses from our K-4 teachers, and then the black is the responses from our 5-8. There is some overlap with a few of the programs that we used. The next 3 slides you'll see, I'm not going to read through them, but provide some of the comments. There was an opportunity besides the quantitative data for them to give some comments about their feelings around the programs and why they rated things the way they did. We really looked through that over spring break as a curriculum team and analyzed what teachers were saying to align with the plan that we are proposing tonight. So for Waterford, for the next 2 school years, we would like to move to all kindergarten through 1st grade students. As it currently stands, we're doing it for all of kindergarten and select students below the 40th percentile in NWA for 1st and 2nd grade. We're also going to shift to reading only as opposed to reading and math. And the other change is 274 licenses is what we're asking for this year, as opposed to 225 last year. And really the reasons behind that, kindergarten usage continues to show really positive results. I'll share that in a minute. We removed 2nd grade based on overwhelming teacher feedback, that the platform was too primary oriented and that students were burnt out on the program by the time they got to 2nd grade. And teacher feedback was also overwhelming that the math piece is no longer needed with iReady, that doing both is simply too much. Here you can see the overall kindergarten progress for the program this past year. And so the light gray is the beginning kindergarten level, so students place at that level as they begin the program. The blue would be mid-kindergarten, and the green is the end of kindergarten. So you can see in August, we had 624 students placed right at the beginning of kindergarten, where we'd expect them to be. We did have 124 that were already at the mid level of kindergarten, and 44 that were at the end of kindergarten in the program. As of April, to date, we have now only 66 kindergarten students who are still at that beginning level. We have 215 at the mid-level range, and we have 472 who've already reached the end of kindergarten or beyond. Some of them are already all the way up into 2nd grade material. I think what was most exciting to me as I looked at that was that the 44 kids who started in the green at the beginning of the year are the kids who are now working in that end of 1st grade, beginning of 2nd grade material, showing that the program still continues to grow them even when they're already accelerated to start with. Lexia, we've been using for all our 3rd through 8th grade students, not all of them, I'm sorry, that was wrong, for students below the 40th percentile on NWA as an additional support. Our plan requests that we shift to all 2nd through 4th grade students and then retain it for a select 5th through 8th grade group of students, really for our MTSS Tier 2 and 3 students. What we're asking for is 3,400 licenses. It was 4,244 this last school year. Lexia provides a really robust, individualized support with material all the way down to pre-K that ranges all the way up to 8th grade. We are adding the addition of 2nd grade as a replacement for Waterford that's in continuity with what our 3rd and 4th grade is already doing. And for the middle school, the shift really is around an equity for all students with access and usage. What we have heard overwhelmingly from our teachers is that there's not enough time for IXL and Lexia in the middle school day. And students were feeling different kinds of ways about what types of programs they were supposed to use. They didn't feel like they were all being held to the same standards, the same playing field. So that's the change there. Results, to quantify results for classrooms that are using it with fidelity, it's actually amazing what we've seen on Lexia. So this is a sample third grade classroom to show you this report. The red is the pre-K level, orange is kindergarten, yellow is first grade, blue is second, and then the green is third and then fourth. So you can see in August in this particular class, again, we were only using this program this year for students who tested below grade level. And we had students starting pre-K, kindergarten, 7 in first grade, some in second grade. Now, at this point in April, all of those students have moved a minimum of 2 years worth of growth in less than a year. So for students who are using the program and meeting the usage minutes, we're seeing phenomenal results. iReady is a math program. It actually was part of our new curriculum adoption this past school year, and we had a trial period with that. All of our kindergarten through fourth grade students have been using it, and we would like to continue that the next 2 years. Licenses for every student are included in that, which we're looking at about 4,730 in the upcoming school year. The way they license, I believe we should be able to add other students if we need to. Teacher and student feedback is overwhelmingly positive for iReady. I don't think we've heard a single negative thing. It aligns directly with the curriculum, and there's individualized learning pathways for every student. Usage for this past year, we did take a look at since it was new to us. We had 4,684 kindergarten through fourth grade students who took the diagnostic. iReady has a diagnostic that gives us data 3 times a year, really helps us to analyze growth directly with our curriculum program. It wasn't required this year because we were requiring other programs, but 90% of the students are using the program weekly, and they love it. I've been in many, many classrooms over the course of this past year, and in every single classroom I walk in, even if it's English time, they want to be doing iReady. And an average of 18 minutes spent per lesson. Kindergarten's a little less, down to 15, and third or fourth grade, some of the lessons go up to like 23 minutes. As far as results, this is the diagnostic from fall to winter. They are currently about to take the spring one. We can't wait to see the results. But you can see here, the red is 3 or more grade levels below. The orange would be 2, green is 1. Blue was on grade, and the green was at or is above grade. So you can see our 4,600 kids at the beginning of the school year, and then where they were in January. We're seeing some tremendous growth, especially for some of our kids who were far below grade level, and we can't wait to see what May brings. The other program we want to talk to you about tonight was Dreambox. We've been using this program for our 3rd through 8th grade students. Teacher feedback is very clear that and as well as the data usage, that we don't need it with iReady in K4. iReady fills that gap and that need. And so we would be looking to use Dreambox for math only moving forward in, again, our select 5th through 8th grade students. So that 550 licenses, down from 3,800 last year, is about 10% of our middle school students. And it really provides a tier 2 or 3 intensified support. We just don't have a lot of tutors available at the middle school level, and this allows us to really meet the needs of kids who are significantly below grade level. Here you can see results. It was used this way at 2 schools this past year, Liberty and Mark Bills. So kids who needed intensified strategic support. The gray is what would be a typical annual growth in April of this year's worth of growth, and the green is what we saw them grow. And so you can see at Liberty, those students grew 1.5 average years growth. Some grew more than that. And then at Mark Bills, we saw 1.1 years in that small amount of time. IXL, the request is to continue the same thing we've done this last year. All of our 5th through 8th grade students use the program for reading and math, which is 3,500 licenses. For middle school, it provides a lot of practice opportunities. IXL itself doesn't necessarily differentiate. It does go down grade levels and it goes up, but the differentiation really comes where we meld it in middle school with that teacher looking at the data and then responding to it. And teachers and students in the middle school have provided really positive feedback. Our teachers who've been using it in middle school, they've consistently hit their usage targets, and we've seen growth in that. And then we did want to look at our NWA map growth because that's kind of an overall data point that we try and track to make sure we're moving in the right direction with what we're looking at. So here you can see our spring of last year to winter of this year. Again, we're taking that test currently, so we'll have updated numbers soon. This is the percentage of students who are at grade level on that test. There's a couple other action items that aren't really online programs. Accelerated Reader, we're looking to shift to all 1st through 8th grade students. We did use it for kindergarten this past year, but that was almost 1,000 licenses, and what we found was it's not appropriate. Most kindergarten students are not individual learners or readers on their own, yet independent readers. And so we're having to have the teacher read the book to them, which isn't really what AR is designed to do. This is a supplemental program. We're looking at about 7,800 licenses. As I said before, that's down a little from last year because of that kindergarten. And the goals can be aligned to students' individual reading level. We do know that we have some students who enter at kindergarten already reading independently, and we have more that grow throughout the year, and so we're looking at what we can do to continue to incentivize that and celebrate them at the board as well with that. The other 3 resources that you see there, Mystery Science is just our K-4 science resource connected with literacy. It's the teacher's resource in kindergarten through 4th grade, really their curriculum for science. Learning A to Z is a K-4 resource with books. Our teachers use this quite a bit. One of the best pieces about it is that things can be printed and sent home so that text can be practiced at home as well. And then, of course, NWA Map Growth, which is our screener that's administered 3 times per year.
Thank you, Amanda. Are there any questions regarding the online supports? If not, President Murphy, I have forgotten that group. Vice President Murphy, I've forgotten this group. We have a group of librarians here that I would like to have come up. This is maybe the 2nd or 3rd board meeting where they have been patient with us. There's a new materials collection process. So Jen Parker, are you here? And Shelley Raycraft, and then Lay. Awesome. Welcome, and thank you so much for being patient and sitting through our meetings.
Yeah, it's eye-opening.
It's good to see both of you.
Yes, thank you.
She said it's eye-opening.
It is, it really is. Thank you to the board and the superintendent for allowing us to speak on our administrative procedure that you approved a month ago, something like that, yes. So Shelley Craycraft at Richwoods, I'm Jenny Parker, I'm at Manual, and then Leanne Cloud is at Peoria High, could not be with us tonight. But at the beginning of the school year, we noticed that the library policy needed to be updated to meet the needs of our 21st century learners. And more distressingly, we noticed our district had no guidelines for collection development. This was needed to show how library media specialists and curriculum coordinators who oversee the library managers make decisions on what is added to each library collection. So the administrative or collection development guideline outlines the following items. Selection of materials for our diverse student populations and where we find reviews. Deselection or weeding, which is how we maintain and update our collection. Removing items that fall into the musties category. Musty meaning misleading or factually inaccurate, ugly or worn beyond repair, superseded by a new addition, trivial, the interest has passed, irrelevant to the needs of the community served, which doesn't mean that it's irrelevant information, just that it's not good for the community that it is within, and elsewhere, may be easily obtained through other sources. This also includes the review of gifts and donations, which we love to get. And then how we go about the replacement of lost or damaged items. A challenge policy is also included, which follows the guidelines set out by the American Library Association and includes a copy of the Library Bill of Rights. We appreciate the support of the administration and school board. Now that this document is in place, we will be able to update easily as changes happen For example, recently within the Illinois state government, Secretary of State Alexi Giannoulias recently put forth legislation to protect libraries and librarians in this climate of book bans. He has stated that librarians should not feel as though they are on the front lines of a cultural war when the doors open each day. So he put forward House Bill 2789 to protect individuals' fundamental right to read, and recognizes that we must honor the decisions made by our state, public, school, academic, and special librarians as they curate library collections that serve the entire community. This has now actually passed the House and the Senate, and is awaiting the governor's signature. This will ensure protection for us and the money we receive from the state. So we are very much looking forward to continuing to serve our populations and make sure every student has access to equitable learning. That is, if you have any questions, thank you.
Thank you very much. Was there any comments or questions from board members?
Ms. Craycraft, do you have any comments? Would you like
I
to
have
make
any
some
comments?
remarks?
I'm good. We've been drafting back and forth, so I'm totally, you don't really want me to start. Once I start, it's kind of hard to get me to stop.
Thanks for being here.
We did work on the comments together.
You guys did great.
Yes.
Dr.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I have some questions about the curriculum, going back to that real quick. Going back to IXL and Waterford specifically, those are ones that I think I pull every year for a separate vote. How, going off of kind of what the families from Keller had said and what I've heard and maybe other board members have heard from other schools in the district, have you surveyed if the schools actually want these, or is it something that's being pushed on teachers?
Yes, we surveyed the teachers, 150 of them. Many of them responded about Waterford specifically. Kindergarten,
To keep it or to get rid of it?
just to responded about it. So kindergarten gave the rating of 3.84 overall out of 5 for its effectiveness. First grade and second grade were lower with that. When we looked at the teacher comments, in large part that was because second grade was entirely negative, I would say, if I remember correctly. And it was in large part because of the burnout that they see the kids having from being on the program for 3 years and the elementary interface. Waterford caps at second grade, so it wasn't really pushing them beyond that. For first grade, it was really a mixed review. And it was mainly centered around the fact that because only some students were doing it, it was very difficult to implement in first grade classrooms with Fidelity. There were a lot of issues. They're trying to pull a small group to the table while they're also working with that. So we've met with the teachers and tried to reframe that time. We're pulling that out separately to honor that request from them and be able to give them that 20 minutes to do that program with Fidelity.
Michelle, that's slide 2, I think, the current and future.
And we don't have access to this, correct? This PowerPoint, I didn't have it in my board packet.
I don't think it was sent ahead of time. I sent it to Cammie Ross. It'll be in the board minutes, I believe. Is that right, Michelle?
We can send it to you.
Okay. So, sorry, I need just one more clarification. So for Waterford, it was like middle of the road. People wanted it, right? Like a 2.5, 3.1 something?
It was 3.4, I believe it was 3.42, or I'm sorry, 3.84.
Okay, and that's
keeping
just
it
for the
kindergarten.
150 teachers that you surveyed. But I guess my question is going to, have you gone to Keller and said, Keller, do you teachers need this? All of you. Going to Northmore saying, teachers, do you actually want us to spend money on this? Going to Franklin, going to Dawson, going to Annie Jo, like have you actually, not just the 150 that you surveyed, but have you actually gone to the teachers and the administration and asked if they want it?
Do you have the Waterford data
The slide, yes.
from Steve? Let's
The
show
usage,
that.
you mean? Yes.
The progress. Dr.
Michelle?
Molson, you know what I'm referring to?
Is that it? Okay.
Can you walk?
Yeah, this is the progress and the growth. So in answer to your question, we surveyed all the teachers who use Waterford. Not all of them chose to respond.
So
but
they
we
all
have-
had the option to respond?
They did, every single one of them.
Got
I
it.
sent it to them individually to their individual emails, and then sent a reminder that they were able to respond. This is the data usage from kindergarten reading, and Dr. Mawson, feel free to jump in. So if you see what I was talking about in terms of the the growth. So the green bar is that beginning of kindergarten level, and then blue and then yellow are mid to end of kindergarten. Red there is first grade, and then the orange is second grade level. And so what we've seen in our kindergarten, where everyone implements it all together and every student does it, is tremendous growth from beginning of the year to where our students are ending up at the end of the year. It's really powerful data. And our kindergarten teachers in their feedback really shared out that was what they had seen as well. The only real negative feedback, I would say, to be transparent as far as our Waterford, is just the technology issues that it sometimes experiences as a platform, which are frustrating to teachers. And again, we've problem solved that with kindergarten over the last few years by having everyone do it and having that time dedicated. We agree with teachers at second grade, it's not meeting our needs, and that's why we're asking to move to Lexia. First grade, we're seeing growth as well. We fully believe that we can replicate the kindergarten growth into first grade if we implement it using the same model.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
sorry. So you're asking for K1 license. When you were talking, and I just want to make sure that I heard it, because what I heard you say is that this is going to be used for all K1 students. But in this, it says for Tier 2 and Tier 3 for intervention needs. For what we are being asked, the proposed action is Tier 2 and Tier 3. So that is not the same,
Yeah.
right? Every student is Tier 1.
Yes.
This is being asked for licenses for Tier 2 and Tier 3.
Those licenses are for all students. What we're asking you for includes all students. It would include Tier 2 and Tier 3, but every student would have a license to use.
So that's not what this proposed
Right, it
action
Tier
says.
2 and Tier 3.
The quote that was attached to the proposed action is for all students. I pulled that quote myself, yeah.
And that's okay, but our proposed in our actual agenda that legally has to be sent out so far in advance, like, this is not correct if that's really what we're voting on. And so when we get to it, we may need to pull this so that it's actually correct when we vote on it next time. Because this proposed action is not correct if it's really a Tier 1 that we're aiming for and not just a Tier 2 and Tier 3.
You are correct that it says to support
Tier 2.
Tier 3,
Mhm.
but the dollar amount is correct and the number of licenses that you are approving is correct. And it's for all students.
So it can be amended to say all students.
Okay.
And it's really interesting. I received a call maybe 2 weeks ago from the company, and they were really impressed with the growth that the teachers and kids made, that they wanted to feature Peoria Public Schools, right, Dr. Molson? What did Steve say to you? And I know he talked to you as well.
Yes, they actually have done a study on kindergarten growth, correlated last year's data to the students' end of read results, and it was so outstanding. And I should send it to you. They don't call us out by name, but it's our data that they actually presenting worldwide on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we're really proud of our.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as you said, they want to keep their.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay. Awesome. So we'll just have to amend that then, if it's
Yeah.
really for all students. So the IXL, can you talk about IXL? Going along the same question, did all of the teachers have access to be surveyed on it? Because I know, like, anecdotally, teachers tell me they don't like it, students don't like it, but that's also just, like, in my circle, right? Like, that's not the whole district.
Yeah, so middle school, yes, again, all math and ELA teachers use IXL in the middle schools or have access to it, and so all of them were given the opportunity to answer the survey. I don't have the numbers on top of my head of exactly how many answered for that specific question, but IXL, as you can see on the far right there, but our middle school teachers answered that question because we weren't using it in K4 this last year as a district. It was the highest rated program out of all 5, by far, as far as the effectiveness of it.
Okay. And then my last question is about AR. Can you tell me why the district has chosen to continue AR?
I can share with you from a curriculum perspective, AR provides a very, very powerful incentive as a supplemental program for independent reading in the district. And so I know, like, all of our librarians and our principals have worked hard to honor kids who are working to independently read. Anecdotally, as a side note, I can tell you I have a fourth grader down at least Fort Allen who will not read at home at all. And he reads incessantly at school because his teacher has incentivized AR. And so we've just, after losing it as a district for a few years, looking back and picking it up again this year, there's been really positive feedback from teachers, librarians, principals about how it's helping just put that extra piece in for that independent reading to happen during the school day.
Thanks for asking, Dr. Rankin. It disappeared, and then by popular demand and request, I don't know if you were on the board when, even I remember Hetty Elliott coming and talking to the board about getting it back, and a couple of other teachers as well. So as a principal, I was a big AR, we were an AR school, motivated kids, incentivized it. It was great, and we were high poverty but high performing blue ribbon school.
I guess my concern is the incentivization of it, if that's even a word. Because if you don't look at the Renaissance, which is the company that puts it out, if you don't look at their research, but actually people who are third-party people, it's actually not a very positive program because of the competition that goes along with it, because it doesn't have every single book that a child could read. I know that at Reservoir, there are books that the kids want to read, but they're not an AR book. And so they get penalized for actually wanting to read, but they have to read a book that's on the AR, right? And so, yes, there are positives, but I think this goes into what was already brought up tonight, is that our district is not a monolith. And I don't know if we need to be incentivizing reading, first of all, and kind of using it as in a punitive way in some of the schools. And then also thinking about, yes, maybe some schools in our district really enjoy it, but in other schools it's actually decreasing the independent reading of students' interest. If that makes sense.
What are you hearing, Dr. Wilson, from the group that we've gotten some perspective from Amanda, and I shared my experience with it at Whittier and Roosevelt.
We leave it up to the discretion of the building to determine how they're going to promote
Yes.
AR and what they're going to do. So it's not a district directive that you must have a contest, you must do this or that. We do promote those students that have high point totals that do take the tests, but we leave it up to individual buildings. And you're right, Dr. Kraut, we did remove it, actually for similar reasons that you're speaking about, that it became such a focus, and we had all kinds of crazy things, students taking tests and cheating and all this just to get the points. But it was overwhelmingly missed, and it was more of a value add than something that was negative. So that's why this time around we decided to allow the buildings to come up with their own incentive or plan, and so it's all different across the board.
Okay.
Can it be accessed at home as well?
No.
Yeah. So
You can't take tests at home.
No.
No, not the test, but
You can see what books are available
Yes.
online at home, yeah.
But the test must be taken in school.
And if I can just add to that, Dr. Wilson, we also, when we rolled it back out again, it was made very clear to buildings that this was not to be aligned to any kind of grading. So no student should be penalized for not reading. It's purely a supplemental incentive optional program.
I think that may need to be reiterated if we vote on this tonight. I know that that's not happening.
I appreciate that. We did address that at the beginning of
We
the
did.
school year and made it very
We
clear
did.
that it wasn't. We checked actually grade books to make sure that that was not part of the grading, because that's not the purpose. The purpose is to encourage independent reading. So we have a principal meeting tomorrow, so we can reiterate that.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you, Amanda, for being my partner with my superintendent update this evening. I turn it back over to you, Vice President Murphy. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to number 2, the financial update, budgeted, encumbered, expended, balanced, and percentage balance.
Year-to-date revenue through May 8th, 2023 was $205.1 million. That's up about $13 million over figures reported on April 24th. Mostly that's corporate personal property replacement tax and evidence-based funding. With respect to expenditures, year-to-date totals about $190 million. That's $9 million up, with salaries, benefits, and purchase services being the contributors to that $9 million being higher than our April 24th numbers. And I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody may have on that summary.
Any questions for Mick? Seeing none, thank you very much. Moving on to number 3, the proposed expenditures over $2,500. Questions? Moving on to number 4, report of requests under the Freedom of Information Act and status of such requests.
Thank you, Vice President Murphy. Since our board meeting report on April 24th, we received 6 new requests. Of these new requests, 0 have been closed. There was 1 pending request noted on April 24th. Of those, 0 requests remains open. There are 6 requests currently open, so we have received 75 requests for this calendar year at a cost of $3,750. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to action items. Mr. Wilson, would you please read the consent agenda?
Yes, thank you, Vice President Murphy. The consent agenda consists of the following items. Item number 1, gifts to school district, year-to-date, $78,374.42. Item number 2, payment of bills. Item number 3, payment for travel. Item number 4, human resource report. Item number 5, student school board members. Item number 6, NWEA renewal. Item number 7, reading A to Z. Item number 8, Lexia learning. Item number 9, IXL. Item number 10, Dreambox learning. Item number 11, Waterford. Item number 12, mystery science. Item number 13, accelerated reading. Item number 14, curriculum associates iReady, personalized instruction. Item number 15, K through 8, physical education equipment purchase. Item number 16, high school physical education equipment purchase. Item number 17, custodial supplies. Item number 18, office supplies. Item number 19, food service management company contract for 2023 through 2024. Item number 20, update, salaries and regulations for auxiliary personnel, fiscal year 2022 and 2023. Item number 21, approval of field trip to St. Louis Zoo for students and parents in the Ready, Set, Go grant program at a cost of $9,400. And that is the entirety of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any board members would like to have pulled for a separate vote?
Right here. Number 9 and number 11.
All right. Are there any others? With the exception of number 9 and number 11, Madam Secretary, would you like to take a, what is it called, a motion? Do we need a motion to, yeah, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda items except for items number 9 and number 11.
So moved.
Okay. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll?
Mr. Claus.
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Aye.
Dr. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson. 5 ayes, motion carries.
All right. Number 9, IXL.
Yeah, so I pulled this one. We were after our discussion, I had one more question. So just as AR is going to be a choice on how it's implemented, will there be a choice at schools on how IXL is implemented, or is it going to be across every school needs to be implemented the same way? Does that make sense of my question? Like how AR is going to be implemented by choice per school? Is IXL going to be the same way, or is it going to be a mandated curriculum? Or a mandated intervention, or however, whatever the technical term of this is?
Yeah, can you hear me from here?
Yep.
Okay. So IXL is a little different than the other programs in that it's, you probably know this, a practice program. It's not one that actually drills down and teaches students like some of the other programs. And so because of that, really the goal for students is to do 30 questions a week. What we found is teachers who use it, they're getting that goal. But in terms of are we mandating every student in the district has to hit that goal in every single classroom, I believe the answer is no from curriculum. We've given teachers, middle school teachers, a lot of autonomy to figure out how it best fits in their classroom. It doesn't align with NWA data, but in terms of how much or how little they use it, it's kind of student by class.
Does it impact teacher evaluations for how many minutes their students have, or how many minutes their students have, and or how many questions their student answers a week? IXL doesn't. So then my question is, why are some students, maybe at school by school, maybe this gets down to the choice, why are some students mandated to do so much of IXL when, I don't know how else to put it, they don't need it, right?
Well, every student will benefit from it because, again, it's differentiated practice. So it goes all the way up to high school. So we have some slides. I mean, I don't know if you want me to share with you. We've got kids working on like 12th grade math right now in IXL and 11th grade ELA. So it'll differentiate to what they need. If students are being required to use it, that would be the teacher's decision. They're assigning it as an assignment to supplement their instruction.
So how is a 6th grade student doing 11th grade work helping them with the instruction that's in the classroom if they're not being taught 11th grade work, but being asked to do, being differentiated because they're at that level, but what their instruction is in the classroom is not that?
I think that's a question that parent needs to have with the teacher, and the cost benefit of having that student on IXL. That, it sounds like a unique circumstance, and I just feel like that's a conversation that the parent and the teacher need to have for that benefit.
And in that case, the parents would need to very deeply understand what IXL is. And I don't know that people who don't do curriculum or education for a living would necessarily know to ask that.
Do we flag those to students as well? Let's see, for example,
Ms. Donna, do we usually flag those, or Amanda? That example that was given.
Yeah, I'm not aware of who exactly that would be. Again, not everyone is using IXL to the same level in the district. Some teachers are more than others.
Right.
My understanding from what I've experienced, Tracy could say otherwise, is the teachers who are using it regularly and requiring it are requiring the components that directly align to whatever they just.
Got it. Okay.
Like for my daughter, as an example, in 6th grade at Rolling Acres, and the teacher does use it, and I get emails of like, these 4 things need to be completed because they align to what I just taught. And go in and do other things in addition to that if she so chooses. That is my understanding of how it's being used. I'm not aware of a situation where a student's being required to do above grade level.
And I don't know, I was just, that's possible with this, right? Like, it is possible. I don't have it, that's not a real example.
Oh, okay.
So don't go searching or asking me about it. But so what I'm hearing you say is that every school could implement this to their own liking, and every teacher could implement it based on what their building administrator is saying.
Yeah, and if I'm, as far as I'm aware, this past year, administrators haven't put a lot of pressure on the usage. They've really left it up to the teacher to see what aligns to their pacing and their curriculum.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
I have a follow-up question. So, if we offer it to every building, I think we need to focus on individual student needs, and not so much as the building itself, because there is every kind of student in every school. And it may not be, let's say, at one school, you may have 50 kids that actually need the application. In another building, you may have only 10. But if the program's there and if we're meeting the needs and if we're meeting students where they are and the application works, I think it is necessary, and that our goal is to give every student every opportunity to learn and to master at their levels.
And then just one other follow-up question on the IXL. Whenever you said that you had pulled the teachers, 150 of them across the district, were there some schools that had more input from teachers than others? Like, were there some school, I know you said it would depend on who responded, but specifically, one of the questions that I'm getting asked specifically about, I don't know what the response was from the teachers at Keller as far as the number of those, but can there be another, I guess, interview on those teachers again about the program?
About
IXL?
specifically?
Yeah.
I can. Keller teachers did actually respond to the IXL question, even though they didn't have to, since it wasn't being used at the district level. When we looked at data, and again, this is from January because we haven't done our May data review. The usage at Keller was about 50% of students in IXL this year. At Charter Oak, which is the other school that purchased it on their own, it was 30%. So as a district, it's really hard to justify that purchase for like all of K4. The other issue that has come up is that teachers from both buildings have consistently emailed me because they're struggling to fit everything into the day. You know, we're kind of coming out of pre-COVID teaching, right, where we want to be with our kids in person, not sitting back and having them on a computer. They've really struggled in some spaces to balance that, which I think is why the usage is down. There's whole grade levels of classrooms that aren't using.
Okay.
And because of that reason. And when we look at what the kids need, IXL is fantastic, but it doesn't teach, which is what Lexia is giving us and what iReady, which they love, is giving us, because it goes down and teaches those missing skills to help kind of remediate that. That's just what we've seen. I mean, I'm open to surveying them again about IXL and getting some more feedback. And we can look at the May data. Yeah, the other issue that we've seen with it is that when they are answering questions, they're not hitting the 80% correct. So about half of the questions that were answered are not answered correctly. And again, because it doesn't teach them when they miss it, it's more of a good support on top of rather than an addition to. And they're just really finding hard to use.
I remember.
Some teachers that love it.
Yeah.
We have 900 teachers in the district, we have 900 curriculum references.
Yeah.
But as a general usage, we were not seeing the usage to be able to support it from a curriculum perspective.
As a parent that had 3 kids in it during the pandemic using that at home, I do remember it didn't teach them a whole lot of that. If they missed it, it just kept kind of going over it in different questions and things like that.
It is fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question. You kept talking about usage down. Are there times when teachers and/or administrators get together and the usage is displayed in a way that teachers feel or administrators in schools feel called out? Like, do teachers or administrators say all of the 5 to 8 schools are up on the board and Reservoir is at 30% usage and Annie Joe is at 90% usage? Like, is there a public comparison that teachers and administrators have access to or are part of?
We have conversations with principals about data every month when we meet with them. And so we do look at online usage as it relates to student achievement, but we also have conversations about writing benchmarks, reading benchmarks, NWA, artifacts. So it's all part of the conversation of what are we doing, what does the data show, and how can we move forward?
Okay. I would like to propose an amendment, and I'm going to preface this with why I'm doing this. This is my 3rd year on the board, and these always come up, and then we vote on curriculum, and then 6 months down the line when we're into the new school year, something happens, and me and a whole bunch of people are trying to find the board meeting where we had these conversations and saying, no, you said that teachers could use it any way they wanted to, or we said this could happen, and it's not documented anywhere, but we have to go back and watch 3 hours worth of video. So I am wondering if I can amend this to say something along the lines of 5 to 8 students in both literacy and math during the 2023, 2024, 25 school year at the discretion of the teacher or administrators in a building. So that it isn't so it doesn't appear to be mandated. So I would like to propose that amendment.
May I add something? I'm not sure that the amendment is going to clear any questions that we may have going forward. I'm not sure how that will benefit usage of it or the purchase of it.
In my past experience on the board, when we pass things and we have these discussions of an understanding of why we are approving or not approving something, we have the understanding at the board meeting that it's going to be available to the teachers at their discretion. And then in 6 or 9 months, when it gets to be October and teachers are saying, well, my principal says I have to do this, or I'm hearing from a Wisconsin building that I have to do this. It takes a lot of work and not a lot of backing to say, no, at the meeting when we voted on this, this was our understanding. And so from my perspective, again, the board doesn't have to agree with me. This is just my perspective, my amendment. I would like it very clear in writing, documented, not just vocally on a video that we can go back and watch in 6 months, but in writing, an amendment that says it's at the discretion of the school administration or teacher. So that is my viewpoint, and that is based on past experiences as a board member around curriculum.
I would second that motion.
Yeah. So moved.
Curriculum team. I don't, is this for IXL or
Yes, for IXL.
IXL? That the teachers have discretion to utilize IXL as a support mechanism and assign if they feel like students would benefit from it.
And administrators. And the principal. Yeah, I think it's okay.
I'm fine with that for
Yeah.
IXL.
Yeah, we're just going on IXL right now.
I think it's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Yep, just IXL.
I think that's how it is right now anyway.
So I would like to propose a motion for number 9 as amended, which, Cammie, just for your documentation, the amendment would be in the first sentence, it's a long sentence, to provide a competitive digital classroom support resources for all 5-8 students in both literacy and math during the 23-24 and 24 school year at the discretion of the building administration or classroom teacher.
Second.
We get a motion.
Yeah, I motioned it.
Motion
He seconded.
Okay. Madam Secretary, just take roll.
Okay, Mr. Gloss?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
No.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
We have 4 ayes, 1 nay. Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to number 11, Waterford.
And I pulled this one, and it's just because of the conversation we had earlier, we need to amend this also since it will be used for all students. It's not going to just be Tier 2 and Tier 3, which it has been in the past. So, Dr. Kraut or curriculum team, I don't know if you want to say to support Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 intervention needs, or if you want it to just say to support all students' intervention needs.
All students amended? All students, Dr.
Okay,
Rankin.
so I'm going to make a motion to amend based on the presentation and based on the guidance of the administration, that it will be amended to say 274 K-1 licenses to support all students' intervention needs.
Second.
Good?
That's great.
Okay.
It's really removing the word intervention because it's all, so it's all.
It's not really interventions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you're
okay.
comfortable with that, I would prefer.
All students' needs. So Cami, can we do that?
Yes.
So we'll do all students' needs. So licenses to support all students' needs.
In K1.
For the K-1, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion to provide 274 K-1 licenses to support all students' needs.
2,074, not 200.
2,074, sorry. And then Mr. Klaus seconded it.
Okay.
Let me just the motion to amend the language, so we're gonna have to do two. Adopt as amended.
Okay.
Can you go back and do that?
So we should probably go back to do that.
Do they do that in
IXL.
the other one? Okay. No.
Okay, so we had amended the language in number 9, but now we need to go back and actually
Approve it.
approve them, okay. Okay, and then go back and do the 2. Okay.
So my motion is to amend the wording.
Okay. And you seconded that, Mr. Klaus?
Second.
Okay. Madam Secretary, will you call roll?
Mr. Klaus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson? We have 5 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, now going back to number 9, IXL. I'm sorry.
You can do a vote now to adopt that one as amended.
Okay, so, okay, we'll just go.
So I have a motion to adopt number 11 as amended, which was just passed, the amended wording.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you call roll?
Mr. Klaus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson? 5 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, now going back to number 9, IXL. Is there a motion to approve as amended?
So
Second.
moved. Yeah.
Okay, Madam Secretary, will you call roll?
Mr. Klaus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson? 5 ayes, motion carries.
Okay, the deliberation agenda. Who would like to read? Oh, thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Deliberation agenda. Item number 22, expulsion. With the expulsion to be held in advance, proposed action that the Board of Education approve expulsion with the report dated May 8th, 2023.
Second.
Madam Secretary, will you call? Let's go ahead.
Mr. Klaus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson? 5 ayes, motion carries.
Item number 23, expulsion. Proposed action that the Board of Education approve expulsion listed on the report dated May 8th, 2023 be approved as.
Second.
Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Mr. Klaus?
Aye.
Mrs. McConnell?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson? We have 5 ayes, motion carries.
Thank you. Any presentation and suggestions by board members? Dr. Rankin?
I just have a question for the policy committee. I'm going to keep asking until we get it about the administrator policy language that we asked about maybe 2 months ago now, if there's been any movement on that.
Yes.
Your mic's not on.
For sure. It's no different though, than what was stated last time. We haven't had a meeting since then.
Okay.
So once we have a few that we have to discuss.
Just a point of clarity. The question is about the residency, Dr. Rankin?
Correct.
Is it okay? Yes. So we're still working on working with legal so we can make sure that it is accurate.
Okay.
Really quick, I just wanted to say the presentation today for the board members, the faculty, and the students by Organic Life that was held was incredibly successful. The food was great, the quality was great, but most importantly, I think what we got for those of us who were able to attend was feedback from the students who will be eating the lunch. There were several students that were able to come in there, and I got overwhelming feedback. The chicken sandwich was amazing. The sub sandwich was amazing. Someone said, "Oh my gosh, this is chicken Alfredo." Like, they were really happy with it. And all the food that was presented today is food that will actually be served on the line. So it's not just all the food that they make, but it's also the food that they will be making as a new organization. I know the two gentlemen have already left, but I wanted to thank them for bringing that into the school today. So, and then
That was excellent.
reports from board committees. Okay.
Parent Teacher Advisory Committee will be next Monday, the 15th at 3:30 p.m.
Thank you. Buildings and Grounds will be May 17th at 11 a.m. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, go ahead.
I forgot, this is the last board meeting. So on June 3rd, the 9th annual end of the school year bash will take place at Glen Oak Community Learning Center. If you're not doing anything, I encourage everyone to come out and support student achievement throughout the school year. We'll have bouncy houses, free food, video gaming, basketball. We're also giving away $2,000 to Von Steuben and Glen Oak grades that have the least amount of referrals between last week and I can't remember the cutoff date. But it's going to go to support an end of the school year pizza party and to give funds to the teachers. So again, that's June 3rd, Glen Oak Community Learning Center from 11 to 5. If you're not doing anything, come out. Everything's free and have fun.
You'll have another opportunity May 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah, right before, yeah. Which is great, which is great.
Oh, I do. Okay. I thought I'm like May, June. I'm like, look at this.
You were spoiled last month.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.